Today we're going to break down one of our favorite on-location shoots with the Cougarettes that we did at the Wendover Airfield. So we've actually tried to film this, I don't know how many times, 5 times, 3 times, 4 times. It's now about a year later from when we actually did the photo shoot. So this is moving from a contemporary account to a reminiscent account as we try to remember exactly what happened and how it went. But we did go to a really cool location, and this came from one of Aaron's ideas that he was inspired by. Aaron, do you want to just kind of tell us where it came from?
I found out that the Amazon TV show was actually partly filmed in Utah, and it was filmed at the Historic Wendover Airfield. And I reached out to Landon Wilkie, the museum curator, to see if we could do a photo shoot there, and he said yes.
And we originally were planning on doing this photo shoot with a different group. And that fell through. It was a lot of people to get kind of bought into it. It didn't work out logistically, so we ended up contacting the Cougarettes and pitched them the idea, and they were all for it. So the cool thing was we did a photo shoot with the cheer team out at the Salt Flats, which is right outside of Wendover. This was probably, a couple months before. And so we're like, well, let's just go scout the airfield while we're out there. And it was pretty sweet. We found, I don't know, about 5 different locations. We're like, this would be really epic. I mean, you can see some of the photos from that scouting trip, but it was a pretty cool location.
We came up with a lot of potential ideas. One of my favorites was the classic air hangar. We also saw a couple different aircraft holes. We even saw to the
control tower and the fire station. I loved the fire station. We actually ended up not using it. I was sad about it, but it was pretty cool.
We finally ended up deciding that we were going to do the inside of the airplanes.
Yep, the aircraft holes, the hangar. The day finally came a year ago when during Christmas break, we packed up the van, we got everything ready. So when we came back at the 1st of January, it would be ready to go. We left at probably 5 in the morning. It's about a 2.5-hour drive out there. And thankfully, it was a beautiful day. The weather was great. It wasn't freezing cold. Yeah, we started at the aircraft hangar. We unloaded all the gear there. We set up in that location. And then we moved to one of the other aircraft holes, and then that third one afterwards to try to get everything ready for when they showed up, we'd be ready to go.
The Cougarettes showed up. It was time to roll.
Then when we weren't ready yet, Aaron was still setting up his set, and so I'm running back from my set. I'm going to greet them, get everything going up in the hangar, starting there, and they were very gracious and patient with us. I'd never really used the smoke machine before, and so I'm plugging that thing in. I'm like, I think this is how it works. I don't know. Power on, fog level, let's go all the way to 9. We didn't really test any of this stuff out before we got there. We just had in our mind like, oh, this would be sweet, let's do it. And then figured out as we went.
You know, smoke machines, I don't know anything about them. I just know you can plug them in and they go.
And there's a button and a knob. Our plan was to go to each station, unload the gear, and have everything set up and lights figured out, so when the Cougarettes got there, we would be ready to go and they wouldn't be waiting for us.
But it's a little tough because the Wendover Airfield is an actual active airfield. So we just can't walk anywhere we want. So if we leave the airplane hangar, we have to be escorted to the next aircraft kind of thing.
Yep.
And so Landon Wilkie was awesome. He had a tour bus that he would shuttle the girls, shuttle some more stuff. He would escort our vans. We could go to different locations. Because of that, we kind of got behind on some of our sets. We were able to set up one aircraft, and then my aircraft, I just got some of my lights dropped off there. I was missing some gels and different things, so I had to set that up way later.
So
but we kind of get into that.
Secretly, I made sure that my aircraft was set up first, so I was ready to go, and Aaron's was second, and he was not ready to go when they got there.
Hey, I got the Con airplane.
That's true.
Nicolas Cage stood where I stood.
That's true. And Cyrus the Virus.
Cyrus the Virus.
So now we're going to go through our setups in each location, talk about the lighting that we did in there, why we did what we did, and so let's jump in and we'll show you the diagrams. All right, so here is the map of the aircraft hangar. First off, I'm going to be in the back of the hangar shooting towards the airplane. I'm going to have one of the Cougarettes in between in the foreground, so the airplane's in the background. And then I have my key light off to one side and my fill light on the other. And for my modifiers, I just used parabolic reflectors. So the bare bulbs with the parabolic reflectors, I just wanted a harder light. Now what I actually ended up doing there was I would switch my key and my fill depending on which way it looked better, which way the girl is facing. And you can see from these examples, switching back and forth, you know, one side worked better than others in different situations. And then later on, I added a light back behind to mimic the sunlight to come and hit the airplane. The other thing is, you can see the difference between these photos with using just a little bit of smoke or a lot of smoke in the background. We had the smoke machine back behind kind of this back corner of the airplane shooting out. And personally, I really loved the look with a lot of that smoke and haze in there. And so that's kind of my setup. It's super simple, nothing crazy about it. The main thing that I think is important is very first in situations like this, when you're shooting on location, is first set the ambient exposure for your camera and then introduce your light. You don't want to do it the other way around because then you're doing everything backwards and it gets super confusing. So set your ambient, what do I want my background to look like? How light or how dark do I want it? And then leave it. Don't touch your camera settings. Then set up your light and adjust the power of your light to match it. Don't do it the other way around, or you get super mixed up. It gets really confusing and you're just like fighting against it.
So I had a 2 light setup. My ambient light was the sun shining through the windows, and then I had this big soft box. One of my favorites from Ellen Chrome, the indirect. Normally most soft boxes you put the light at the very back and it shoots through. This one you actually put the light in the center at the focal point and it kind of shoots into it like an umbrella, and then it bounces back through the baffles and makes this beautiful soft light. This setting was very simple. Like Nate said earlier, I set up my ambient exposure using that sunlight as my ambient and where I wanted my background to look and to be. And then I brought in this big soft light. The other cool thing is we had some of our student photographers there and we added a third setup. So they used a similar setup to mine where they used the sun as their backlight. They had a 1x6 strip box that was gridded as their key light. And so they just kind of always placed it opposite of where their hair light, their sun, their backlight was. And they were able to get some interesting angles with these windows being their background. My windows were over here and I was shooting kind of into this corner. This space was large, but we were able to maximize our efforts in keeping, we had 3 different backgrounds that were unique but similar.
Yep. Yeah, it looks pretty chaotic when you look at just the diagram. And when you were there, it was also chaotic.
Yeah.
But it worked, right? It worked. We made sure to map out where everybody was going to be. We had our backgrounds clear and we were able to really maximize the space like you were saying. All right, so the other setup that I had was in this aircraft hull. I don't remember what kind of aircraft it was. I know it was the same kind of plane that the Candy Bomber used in World War II. So the camera I have in the back of the plane, and in the doorway here, we actually put a combo reflector. We just took the reflector off and just used the diffuser, put it over the door, and then I put my key light outside of it shooting through it, so the light source was coming through the doorway. Now the dancer was right to the side of that, and then we had another light in the front of the plane shooting back towards camera. I actually had one of our students talk about it'd be a cool idea to gel it, and so we ended up putting on, we tried a full CTO, just color temperature orange, that's all it means. We put a full CTO on it. I felt it was a little strong. We tried a quarter CTO, and I thought at that point it looked really good. Somebody accidentally put the full CTO back on it, and so the orange was much more saturated. And it was one of those like Bob Ross happy mistakes where I felt like after the fact, I felt like the deep orange looked much better than the quarter did. Yeah, so then we had the hazer in there, which is different from a smoke machine. And if you ask me the difference, I will say I have no idea because this is the first time I've used either of them. And so, but I love how it created that depth and that texture in the air, and an added element that I was not expecting was the sunlight coming through the windows and creating really cool lines going through the window through the haze. Okay, so positioning of the Cougarettes when they're in there. In this photo, she's a little bit behind the doorway and the lighting was a little flat, so I had her move forward probably, I don't know, a foot or two, just to shape a little bit more with the light. You can see the difference a little bit in the light, like look at the shadows on her face. And then just to make it a little bit more, I had her look up towards the light in this third shot, and it just shapes a lot better. It's these really small movements when you're dealing with light that really matter. And it's just as important to pay attention to the shadows as it is to pay attention to the light in these moments. It makes a huge difference.
So I had a similar thing where I had the interior of an airplane that was gutted out. The cool thing about this airplane, as we mentioned maybe a little bit earlier, is that it was used for Con Air. It was originally Con Air. They originally just put this on top of a flatbed truck and they would drive this around as they were filming for Con Air. So I stood where Nicolas Cage stood. I stood where Cyrus the Buyer stood. For my setup, we used 3 different lights, and I kind of had some trouble trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my hair light. So my key light was a beauty dish, and then I had it in the clamshell setup. So I had my beauty dish up above, and then I had a strip box that was laying on the ground real flat to be kind of my fill light. Because a lot of the moves that I was having the dancers do was kind of more break dance, b-boy inspired kind of moves, grounded to the floor.
Did you say brick dance?
Break dance?
Break dance.
What did I say?
I don't know, I thought you said brick dance. It's like,
that's
that I'm a dancer, but I've never heard of brick dancing.
Well, I'm a brick dancer if you see me dance, and they do the break dancing. So I wanted kind of a little bit more of a contrasty, harder light. And I got there and I had some issues. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my background. I originally I put this light in the aircraft hole facing towards my dancer, and it was just kind of raking the skeleton, the ribs of the airplane. And it was this really cool texture, but by the time I had my dancer in there and it was just kind of a little bit overwhelming. And finally settled on pitting this light on the ground, gel blue pointing towards the ceiling, and it kind of flattened the rib of the plane, and then it made it a solid color. And it made it a lot easier for the dancers to pop out from their background.
Yeah.
Their outfits were kind of tough. They were these really cool silver reflective jumpsuits, and silver in a silver plane.
Yeah, need some kind of separation.
Needed some kind of separation. So you can see probably in some of this B-roll of me just acting frantic and trying to figure out where the light's going to be good.
So now let's talk about post-processing a little bit. Now, as you look at some of the images that I took before and after, you'll notice they look pretty close to how they looked out of camera. One example that I did where there was a lot more editing was this photo here, where I took out the doorway where we had that diffuser, and then I mirrored the windows and the sun rays from the light on both sides. I just thought it would look really cool, and so I just mirrored that over. Other than that, that's probably the heaviest retouching I did in any of the images.
And for me, we edited our images completely separately from each other, and then when I saw Nate's images, I realized mine were pretty cool in comparison, and we wanted
They were way cool.
They were way cool. Thanks, Nate. Pretty cool in color temperature, as far as my background, and I wanted it to look like we came from the same shoot. Yeah. So I went back and I just selected my background, and I brought the color temperature a lot warmer in it. And then one other thing, every now and then, someone's smoke machine.
Somebody who didn't know what they were doing just kept pumping that smoke.
So I used dehaze a couple times in some of these photos.
Photo shoot's over. We had time to kind of come back and take some notes on some takeaways that we had, things that we felt like went well, things that we felt went bad, and so we're just going to go through some of them with you. First takeaway is we had 4 different locations picked out. Well, we had the hangar, we had the 2 aircraft holes, and then we had the fire station.
We didn't even get to make it to the fire station.
Yeah, we didn't, and I was super excited about the fire station. I think I was probably the only one excited about it, and
I wasn't excited.
And
I didn't see the vision.
I didn't get to it. I think I want to go back and do something there because that is still in my mind. So I think something that really would have helped is having one photographer at each location and we're all photographing at the same time. That way we could have split up the group, more people could have run through the different stations, and I think it just would have run smoother and more efficient.
Another one of our takeaways is just having a little bit more time. Take more time than you think, get there early, set things up.
Earlier, right? We
Earlier.
left at 5 in the morning.
I'd rather be sitting around having things ready than scrambling.
Yep, and we were definitely scrambling. One of the problems was, I feel like, and this leads into the other takeaway, was we planned the shoot off of the group photo where the hangar doors are open and the sun is like dead center between that opening of the hangar doors. And part of the problem with that is we started before the time of the group photo, and so we already had the smoke filling the hangar, and when the sun got just right, we stopped everything, did the group photo, but because there was so much smoke in there already, in my opinion, it didn't work well because the smoke was between the subject and the light, and it just kind of washed it out, and I wasn't happy with the group photo, how it turned out, and so we just kind of ditched that part after the fact.
I had a good idea.
What's
We
that?
should just turn on the propellers of the plane. We could have cleared out the smoke.
Well, I'm glad you're thinking of that a year later.
One of the good takeaways is that we decided not to have every dancer go through every location. We split them up into groups so they would all get a hangar photo and they would all get a photo inside of an aircraft. Which aircraft that was depended on which group you're with.
Yep.
Yeah,
All locations.
I'd rather have 5 minutes with a dancer and get something great rather than have 2 minutes
And
and
just
then
get
cycle
something.
through.
Yep. Another great takeaway was, again, something that I hadn't really done before, and that was the smoke and the haze. I felt like it added a really cool, unique dynamic of adding that texture and dimension in the hangar and in the aircraft hull. For me, I loved it. That was a great takeaway to,
I also think it helped the dancers pop out from that background.
yeah.
Kind of took away some of that texture, didn't take away the beauty of the place, but just let that contrast of that dancer pop in front of that environment.
Yep, just little details like that, I think, helped a lot.
Key takeaway, location scouting is very important. Going there the time before, running into all the problems that you could run into. So one of the things we look for is like, where do we have power in these locations?
Yeah.
Where is the sun gonna be? Some of the other things, is there a bathroom for your...
We're gonna have a lot of people there, right, for a long period of time. Just the little things that you don't really think about.
It's good to run into those problems early and to figure those things out so you have a solution right away. So you're not in the middle of the shoot trying to figure out, oh no, I don't have a power for my light, I don't have...
Yep. And that determined on what equipment we took.
Yeah,
because we
that's true.
knew we had power, we knew what type of lights that we could take, and that helped so when we went back to the office, we could map out, okay, these are the lights we need to put up in the van, to load in the van, so we can get ready, so when we leave, everything's ready to go. Okay, another takeaway, don't be afraid to pitch your big ideas. So like we said before, this didn't work with the first group that we wanted to, so keep trying to find a way to make it work, and I think we both agree that this location actually worked a lot better with the Cougarettes. I think it turned out awesome.
I think the Cougarettes are meant for this shoot. We're super happy with how the shoot turned out. Huge thank you to the Cougarettes and the Historic Wendover Airfield.
And Landon at the airfield for helping us out, and for all of our BYU Photo team, all of our students. They were amazing. We couldn't have done it without you, so thanks for making this possible. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below, and we will see you in the next video.